So you guys have your test tomorrow, so we are going to go over the test review together, but we are just going to do the odd questions, and then you're going to try the evens on your own to make sure that you are well prepared for your test that is going to happen this Friday. So what we have here in our first box is the steps to solve an equation, but to make this make a little bit more sense, I'm going to give you an example problem to help us figure out the steps. So if you would like to write this down, then we can see exactly what the steps are to be able to solve the equation for x. Okay, so in this example, step 1 is going to be that we need to get rid of parentheses. So if we look at this 2, we need to get rid of it by distributing. So step 1 is to remove parentheses by distributing. So we just removed the parentheses by distributing. So what that means, 2 times 4 is 8x, 2 times 3 is 6. Then we take the rest of the question and we write it right below. Okay, step 2. So in this question, we need to combine like terms on each side of the border. What that means is that on this side of the border, we need to clean up any terms that look the same. What that is we have a number or a constant and another number, so those are like terms. So that is a positive 6 and a positive 4. So we can combine like terms as long as they're on the same side of that equal sign. So in this example, our 8x is going to come down. A positive 6 and a positive 4 is a positive 10. Then we bring everything else down. Okay, next step, step 3. So what we have here is a variable, or the letter x on the right side, and there's an x on the left side. That's not good. We need to get those x's together, so we need to move the variables so they're on the same side of the equation. What that means is to get rid of the x from this side, I need to subtract 6x, and I go to this side and subtract 6x. Okay, so step 3 is to move variables to one side. Again, a variable is a letter. We moved our letters so that they're now on the same side. 8x's minus 6x's is 2x's plus 10 equals 5. Now we have a very, very easy 2-step equation to solve. So our next step is to get rid of our constant. We need to move our number to the other side. So if that's a 10, I need to subtract 10. Okay, so that step is move constants, those are numbers by themselves, move constants to the other side. So that leaves me with a 2x, an equal sign, and a negative 5. Okay, last step, step 5, we need to get x by itself. So to get this x alone, we are going to divide by 2 and divide by 2. So that last step is to divide. Sometimes we would have to multiply to get it by itself, but in this one, we divided to get x by itself. Very easy. So my final answer of my little practice equation here is going to be x equals negative 5 over 2. You can write that as a decimal, or you can just keep that as a fraction. So it seems like a lot, but those are our 5 steps. You have now done them for like 3 weeks. So those are our 5 steps to get x by itself. Okay, so again, we're just doing the odds, which are the left side of this worksheet. So we're going to start with number 1. What you notice about number 1 is it says simplify. It does not say solve. There's no equal sign. So we're not going to move things left and right across the equal sign. All we are doing is simplifying. That means in this one, we have 2x's minus 8x's. We can put those together. 2 minus 8 is negative 6x's. Then we have a positive 4 and a positive 6. Those are like terms. 4 plus 6 is the number 10. So we just simplified this question by combining like terms. Very easy. No equal sign, no solving for x. We just combine like terms. In number 3, it says use the distributive property to simplify. Again, simplify is not solve. It just means that we are cleaning up what we have. We're not solving for x. We're just getting rid of parentheses. So in this example, a negative is the same as a negative 1. To get rid of parentheses, we distribute that number to both terms. Distributing means we multiply. So negative 1 times an x is a negative 1x. Negative 1 times 5 is a minus 5. Very easy. Again, no equal sign. So this is our final answer. That's called simplifying, either combining like terms or distributing is what allows us to simplify an expression. Okay, so now we're going to move into the world of solving, which you guys are all very good at this point. Should be much easier. So in number 5, this is a very basic solving question. There are no parentheses here. There are no like terms on each side. That's a variable and a constant. We can't put those together. They're not the same. So we start our solving steps. In order to solve, we take our constant or a number and subtract 10. If I subtract 10 on the left, I need to subtract 10 on the right. That leaves me with a negative 5x equals negative 20. I get x by itself by dividing the number in front and dividing on the other side as well. So that leaves me with x equals negative 20 divided by negative 5 is a positive 4. So easy. Try that same thing, two-step equation, to solve number 6. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at number 7. Same thing. We are still solving an equation, so I'm going to draw this line to help me separate the two sides. It says solve for x. To solve for x, the first step is to get rid of parentheses by distributing. So I take that negative 2 and I distribute it. Negative 2 times 5 is a negative 10x. Negative 2 times 6 is a minus 12. And it equals a negative 82. So we got rid of parentheses by distributing the number from in front. So now we have a very easy two-step equation. Just like before, take your number. That's a minus 12, so I get rid of it by adding 12. If I add 12 on the left, I need to add 12 on the right. That leaves me with a negative 10x equals negative 82 plus 12 is the number negative 70. We get x by itself by dividing negative 10 and divide negative 10. So my answer is x equals a positive 7. Try that same idea with number 8. Be very careful with your negative numbers. Very, very careful when you're multiplying a negative times a negative. So we now move into number 9. In number 9, it looks difficult, but it's not. It's exactly the same as everything else we've been doing. So number 9, it says negative 7 plus x divided by 2 equals 30. So if this is division, I undo division by multiplying by 2. If I multiply 2 on the left, I need to multiply 2 on the right. That will make my 2's cancel. Negative 7 plus x equals 30 times 2 is 60. Then I need to get x by itself. If this is a minus 7, I need to add 7 here and add 7 here. That leaves me with an x, an equal sign, and a 67. Very easy. So try the exact same thing for number 10. Okay, looking at number 11, again, it's an equal sign, so I'm going to draw a border. 11 looks tough because we have decimals, but you can just practice using your calculator, plugging those decimals into the calculator to see what would happen with those numbers. So you're welcome to use your calculator to help you on numbers 11 and number 12. So as always, we start by removing parentheses by distributing the number that was in front. There are parentheses on both sides, so I need to distribute on both sides. So I begin with a 0.9 b. 0.9 times 6.4 is going to be a minus 5.76. On the right side, negative 3.9b. Negative 3.9 and a positive 8 is a minus 31.2. We got rid of parentheses. Now I have some b's, so I need to move them so they're on the same side of the equal sign. So this is a minus 3.9. I'm going to add 3.9b, and I need to add 3.9b. You are welcome to use your calculator if you need to. 0.9 plus 3.9 is the number 4.8 with a b. Bring everything else down, minus 5.76 equals, be careful, this is still negative, so that's a negative 31.2. Same as before, we just have some decimals now. Next step, we need to solve for x by moving our constant to the other side. That leaves me with a 4.8b equals negative, in the calculator, negative 31.2 plus 5.76 is a negative 25.44. In our last step, we get b by itself by dividing 4.8 and dividing 4.8. You can use that calculator, negative 25.44 divided by 4.8 leaves you with a number 5.3. So it seemed difficult because those decimals, but it's exactly the same idea as before. You can use your calculator to practice multiplying a decimal times another decimal. try number 12. In our next example, we're going to take a look at number 13. So what we have in number 13 is it's asking, in which step below does a mistake appear when we simplify this expression? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by rewriting the expression. It's not an equation, there's no equal sign, so it's just an expression. So step 1, we need to get rid of parentheses. So I'm going to take my first 10 and distribute. 10 times 1 is 10. 10 times 7 is 70 with an n there. And I'm going to bring the rest of it down. Okay, so now I have this negative 6 that also needs to distribute. So this was a 10 plus 70n minus 6n. Negative 6 times a negative 4 is a positive 24. So if we look back at our steps, if you look at step 2, when they distributed, they said negative 6n minus 24. That's not right. It's a negative 6n plus 24. So the mistake is written in step 2. So this was my original question. This was step 1. And then this is how step 2 was written. It was incorrect in step 2. Try the exact same thing for number 14. All right, so now we're going to take a look at number 15. We just have a couple more left. Okay, number 15. So 15 looks difficult. It's not that hard. So just like always, I draw a line in my border. Just like always, we start by getting rid of parentheses. Okay, 8 times m is 8m. 8 times 7 is 56. Minus 2m equals. Negative 2 times 4 is a negative 8. Negative 2 times m is a minus 2m. So step 1, got rid of parentheses. Step 2, combine like terms. 8m's minus 2m's is 6m's. And there's a plus 56 on this side, equals negative 8 minus 8m. We got rid of parentheses by distributing. We combined like terms if they were on the same side of the border. Next step, I need my letters to be on the same side. I'm going to get rid of that by adding 2m and adding 2m. 6m's and 2m's is 8m plus 56 equals negative 8. Easy, two-step equation, subtract 56, subtract 56. 8m equals negative 64. Get m by itself by dividing by 8. Easy. So m equals negative 64 over 8 is negative 8. So try that same idea with number 16. All right, so we've now made it to our very last page. So looking at number 17, we have some fractions. So I want for you guys to know, and you can write on the top, that there is a button on your calculator that says Control. So if you press Control, and then you press the divide symbol, it allows you to type in a fraction. So Control Divide will allow you to write a fraction in the calculator. So for this test, you're welcome to practice fractions in your calculator. So just like we did in the earlier questions in the review, we always solve by getting rid of parentheses first. So if you pressed Control Divide and you typed in a 1/3, then you can right click and multiply times 9. It would give you the number 3. Then again, Control Divide 1/3 times 9 is another 3. There's an n this time. Then I have an equal sign. -6 times n is -6n. -6 times Control Divide 4/6, that would give you the answer -4. You can also multiply fractions by pencil and paper as well. So now we got rid of fractions, very easy. We got rid of our parentheses by distributing. So I need to take my 6n's and add them to the other side. That leaves me with a 3 plus 9n equals -4. So be very careful here. The letter we're trying to get by itself is this n. We're solving for the n. It's right here. So we need to move the constant, the number, to the other side first. So -3 and -3. 9n equals -4 minus 3 is -7. Get n by itself by dividing. This number does not reduce, so your final answer is n equals -7/9. Very easy. Okay, the last one we're going to do together is number 19, easiest one on the page. So what you learned in our last class is the easiest part of this chapter. It's the fact that when you see the phrase directly proportional, it has to take us back to junior high school. So proportional means we are making a proportion. The proportion is the y over the x equals the y over the x. Very easy. So the first y number I see is a 10. So I'm going to put a 10. Over x is a 3. The question is, what is the value of y when x is 5? So the y's are the top, the x's are below. To answer this, it's called cross multiplying. 3 times y is 3y. 10 times 5 is 50. We get y by itself by dividing 3 and dividing 3. If you type that in, 50 divided by 3, you can go to menu, number, convert to decimal, and you would get y equals 16.666666666. Very easy. So try the last one, which is number 20. Also, direct variation, meaning you're setting up a proportion for number 20 as well.